Welcome to the Amazon Legends podcast, where we have real stories about making it big on Amazon. Our guests are CEOs of large companies and entrepreneurs who became powerful sellers, also experts specializing in helping sellers, and both former and current Amazon employees who will give us an insight from behind the scenes. Here's your host, Nick Urison.
Welcome to another episode of Amazon Legends. You are going to love my next guest story because he's one of those people, who I guess growing up, we kept playing video games. He's one of those kids where he says, stop playing, do your homework. So now the video games became his world, because when he was playing a video game, and this guy is a grown-up, he's not a kid anymore. So when he was playing a video game, he's about to win and win big, like he was playing for money. And it's a football game, and it slips, the controller slips, and he loses $5,000. And he's so pissed off, and he starts a business. He creates a product. So this is something that will stop the controller from slipping. And it's a special glove. And he thinks there must be a need for this. So he starts his Amazon business. So that's his story. And now he's doing very well. And he's the founder of Grip It Sleek. So you know where the name is coming from. And when he's not playing games, which is not really the case usually he's busy, but of course business calls, and he attends to business. But when he's not doing business or playing games, he's passionate about golf, Bruce Lee, and Bruce Lee's innovative history. So with that, everybody, meet my guest, Marcial Stewart. Welcome to the show, Marcial.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm dying to hear your story because, it's, in fact, when you and I met, it was 11 o'clock in the morning. And you said, sorry, man, I just woke up. I said, you've been playing games all night. He says, yeah, I was.
Right.
So you are an authentic guy. So nothing I said is wrong. So when you told me your story about how you went about starting your Amazon listing, tell me about that experience. How did you get started?
I got started, I guess a little bit of focus and a lot of perspiration.
So I can see the perspiration part. We say in the entrepreneur world, being an entrepreneur is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. So in your case, it sounds like the Amazon business. So tell us more. What was your focus?
My focus was to help gamers play video games more efficiently. Say over 200 million gamers suffer from a condition is sweaty hands and clammy hands, and gaming is becoming a worldwide thing, and people make a lot of money off gaming. So, and I lost a pretty penny playing video games. So my focus was just to have the gamers play more efficiently, play more comfortable, and just have an edge while gaming.
Okay, so I play video games. I only play one game, and I totally get what you're talking about, because when you're playing with that controller, and by the way, it's not 5-10 minutes, it's hours, especially if you're into it, right? So your hands get sweaty, and you're constantly wiping on your clothes, or you've got something, but you can't do that while you're playing. So
because
tell us more.
So basically gaming is a thing where you want to have your hands on the controller at all times, and those fractions of a second you take your hands off to do the famous leg wipe or the shirt wipe, you could definitely lose a lot of points. You can lose a lot of money. And gaming is, in the medical book, is considered an addiction. So it's right alongside every other addiction. So and gaming is just it's a way of life for me. So I just want to give gamers, gamers an edge while playing also while, stylish.
Yeah. Well, it's true. Medical community is that considers gaming addiction. Some games are like that, and there are
Yeah.
definitely addictive elements in it. On the other hand, there is no evidence that I've heard of, and I've heard people talk about gaming doing damage in terms of violence and things like that. There is no, it's just a theory people are floating.
Right.
It may be the case, it may not, but they're just, the same medical community does not have any evidence to present that violence is caused by games.
Right.
So it's a fact. So on the other hand, on a positive aspect of it, there is a concept called gamification. In other words,
Mm.
in corporate training, in tutorials for software systems, of course, the ideal one, the most popular one, or anything else where you want to teach people something new, instead of making it a boring experience of reading material or watching
Yes.
videos about it, gamifying it is now
Yes.
achieving a lot of success. In fact, um, my understanding is Domino's Pizza has an app that gamifies pizza ordering. So, so you make. I never tried this myself, but apparently you order a pizza, and any
Mhm.
way you want, and then you get points. And if other people, so they keep your recipe, and then they show your recipe to other people. And if other people also order the same, you get points and things like that. So there's
Oh
some
wow.
kind of gamification. So games are here to stay. So you found
Yes.
a, a niche for it. So tell us about it. So now you came up with the idea. You're thinking, okay, 200 million people play games, and they all suffer from sweaty hands, and that leads to losing games and at
Yes.
least uncomfortable. So then what happens next? How did you go about it?
Well, the day that I lost the tournament, um, I went back, me and my buddy and we said, you know what, we got to figure some way to where, we put our money in the pot. We got to figure some type, there's something out there that we can do that's going to stop our fingers from slipping on the controller. And I told my friend, I think we need to go in the house and put it down on paper. And that's what we did. We went in the house. My friend's name is David. And we went in the house and we drew it up, signed it, dated. And I don't know where we got the idea from, but we mailed it back to ourselves. I think we might have watched it on a show or something. It's kind of like the poor man's way of, I guess, covering our ourselves as far as trying to, as far as the idea, the conceptual of the idea. So put it down on paper. I I went to the store, like a glove store, and I got a long spandex, like black, like lycra glove, and I just made the cutout. I made the cutout, and that was the first design of the sleeves was the cutout. And then from there, say about 6 months passed, nothing was done. And then that's when I seen the commercial for Event Help, and that's when I went there and got the information to where I paid like $700 for a book to where they did the research and talked about the product, the market, and the potential that it had. And so with that book, around like $700, that book allowed me to acquire the patent because all I did was gave that book to my patent attorney. Event Help, they already did the research on manufacturing costs, the market, who's our competitors, and things like that. So I just handed that book to my patent attorney, and a year later, I was granted a patent.
So, so what you went about doing is first you secured your intellectual property.
Yes.
so
Yes.
nobody else could copy it. And you, in fact, you did a great job. If you received the patent in a year, that's pretty good. Your attorney did a good job. And this must
Yes.
have been, yeah. Okay. So is that before you started on Amazon or after?
That's before I started on Amazon. I formed my company in 2010. Um, and there's been a lot of years where I just filed zero because I didn't have anything. I was by myself. It was just me, Google, and YouTube. My friend David had jumped ship. I guess he was taking care of his daughter, and I guess really he didn't really. I guess he was busy. I don't want to say he didn't believe, but eventually I retained control ownership of everything. So it was basically me, Google, and YouTube, and I just filed my company, my LLC by myself. Everything I've learned from Google and YouTube. I've talked with Google and YouTube. I ask them questions. I type it in questions into the Google search engine, and if I don't get what I'm looking for, I just rephrase it. I rephrase it until I get the answers what I'm looking for. And my way, my strategy is I kind of use the wisdom of the crowd's philosophy to where I kind of use a general consensus on which direction I want to go because I don't know anything. So I will read, like forming my company, I will read five forming LLC books, and I would find the general, um, I guess, correlation between the books or what all the books were saying similar. Then I knew that would, I basically would have to pursue that direction in order for me to, um, form my company and things like that.
So I have a question for you. So a lot of the things that people are looking for, actually there is a concept, and this is where Google receives a lot of heat. And I'm not a fan of the company because of this.
Right.
So you share your most intimate secrets with Google, right?
Yes. Some
Anything
people.
of business confidentiality, let's say, that you would not tell anybody. You go tell Google, right? You say, I'm
Right.
looking for this. Anything that people, your friends, would not even know about you, some funny thing that you have in your head, you tell Google, right? So
Right.
it's called the search engine. so
Right.
so I tell people, just be careful. Just be careful. At least when you're doing your browsing on sensitive things, open up a private window, one of those incognito, because otherwise everything is going in your profile that Google knows about. So they know who you are. So
Right.
first, that comes to mind. But more important, really more practical, I should say, is when you Google something, it's all about what Google indexed, right? So there may be some real valuable, accurate, and most up-to-date piece of
Yes.
information that may not show up at the top. And by default, those that have been around for a long time tend to show up at the top. But when you
Right.
get it, when you click on it, you may read the information. Of course, it may have been accurate at the time, but now the rules may have changed. So there is a new way of doing it, or it's no longer allowed. So how do you go about differentiating what to really trust in terms of recency, relevancy, and accuracy? Because you may have multiple listings come up on a particular subject at any
Right.
time.
Well, simply what my strategy I like to do, I like to find the leading voices or leading individuals in that field. I research, find out who's the top dogs, and then I would take um, pointers and ideas from them as opposed to kind of guessing. It promotes more of a favorable outcome. Um, like if I was gonna um, start boxing, I would learn from Floyd Mayweather, or if I'm want a foundation on the martial movements, I would read Bruce Lee's books. I mean, he's the most revered martial artist to date. So you kind of want to kind of just kind of, I don't want to say mimic, but you kind of want to follow their foundation, because they're experts in the field, and also using wisdom of the crowds is also a good philosophy that I've implemented when growing my company.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely you want to follow in the footsteps of those who have done it and demonstrated their level of success.
Yes.
Amazon space is a little bit, it's too dynamic. In other words, first of all, anybody has a certain level of success in any field is constantly adapting to new things,
Yes.
right? It's always changing. So that's the nature of business. If you're going to be successful or stay successful, you have to keep changing with whatever the environment requires.
Yes.
Amazon constantly makes changes.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's what I always warn people against. Be careful learning what to do on Amazon based on watching Google and YouTube videos, because you don't know how up to date the material you're watching is. I give you one example.
Right.
So a while ago being not in the last year, so there was something called premium A+ content. So as you know, A+ content is something for brand registered sellers.
Yes.
However, premium A+ content was not for sellers. And
Right.
Amazon charged $250,000 to vendors only. In other words,
Wow.
only people who bought from that Amazon bought from to sell. When something comes up, says ships from and sold by Amazon. So that means Amazon is the
Right.
seller. Amazon is buying that from somebody. So whoever they were buying from, the Amazon vendors had the right to have access to premium A+ content, and Amazon charged $250,000 for it.
Whew.
A few months ago, maybe not even that, we're recording this in today's November 1st, November of 2022. Only a few months ago, Amazon opened premium A+ content to all the sellers for free.
Yeah.
So now, if you watch the video that was recorded a few months ago, talking about A+ content, it would say, well, you have A+ content and you have premium A+ content. But premium A+ content is only available for vendors who write a check for $250,000. That's what you would hear. But today, a few months, fast forward, it's not available to anybody. There are some qualifiers, but nevertheless. So that's why I say you need to do your due diligence about how up to date the material that you're using, whether it's video or a template or some strategy or whatever. So that's why live, experts will give you the most up to date advice. And the right ones will say, well, I don't know, let me check, because nobody knows everything. So,
right. Yeah. So what? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. One thing I also do is I also type the year in after I type it into the search engine. I type the year in after, because you could get some old 2 years ago information, or so I always type the current year.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a good tip. So when you're doing your search, just don't search the subject matter. Also put in the search the year. So that way you pull the most recent ones.
Yes.
So, okay, so you've come up with the product idea. You registered the patent in your name. You created your LLC, and you've done your reading, educating yourself. So now it's time to start doing the business end. So tell us about what you did next.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, once I acquired the patent, it took me about a year. I formed my LLC. So then from there, what I had to do was um, design the sleeks, the actual sleeks. So what I had to do was, again, Google, YouTube. I had to find, I had to get what they call pattern designs or design patterns for like glove, like seamstresses and things like that. So I emailed the University of Clemson University. I heard they were the most renowned as far as, well, in the on this side of the in the U.S. as far as design patterns. So I called them up. I met a lady by the name of Sarah Betts. I sent her my cutout version of my sleeks, the one with the lycra. I cut it out. I sent it to her, and I paid her around $800 something, and then she sent me back sewing design patterns for the actual sleeks, um, instructions, how to sew it, how to put it together. And then from there, once I got the design pattern, it was just took me about, say, about 3 years to actually develop a tangible product because I'm by myself. So I would go all around Baltimore trying to find sewing manufacturers, and I just wanted to see if they could produce a tangible product of my sleeks. They were called NSG, Never Slip Grips, back then, but come to find out, another company had those acronyms, so of course you got to change it. So it took me about 3 years to actually find the grip. Um, I went to numerous screen printers. I wanted to find a tacky grip that would, grip the controller. I wanted to find the right fabric, so I started researching wicking fabrics, lycra fabrics, four-way stretch. So I know I had to get the fabric and basically the grip. And what's great about the sleeks is that it's nothing electronic about it. It's very simple and it's direct. And so once I got the actual grip down from the screen printer, and basically in the middle of Baltimore City, there you have seamstress shops, and you have screen printer shops. They're in within a mile radius. So I met this nice lady by the name of Miss Kim, nice Korean lady. She sold maybe like 50 sleeks together. I gave her the sewing patterns. She put them together. Then I would go down the street to Low Pro Graphics screen printing, and they would put on the silicone grip. So it was basically, I would go, actually, I'm sorry, I would go to the screen printer first. They would screen print the actual grip on it. Then I would take the fabric to Miss Kim, and she would cut it, and she would sew my first official tangible sleeks. So it took around 3 years just for me to, I was by myself. I didn't have no one. My family members not in the business. I'm by myself. I'm talking to Google and YouTube every night, and from there, so 3 years passed. I got some tangible sleeks, and that's when I took them to the New York International Toy Fair, and I found my manufacturers.
I see. So you built a prototype,
Yes,
and
took about
uh,
3 years.
yeah. So obviously this is not all you are doing. You have a day job, right? You're working on it,
Yes.
and then pursuing this. So once you built the prototype, then you started looking for a manufacturer.
Yeah, I went to the International Toy Fair at the Jacob Javits Center. Got a launch booth, like a section for new products and everything. Table cost around $750, and you would have buyers, manufacturers walking past my table. And what was so amazing is that my product was heard all the way on the fourth floor. You had so many Nike exec. It was I had tons of business cards, and come to find out, the Sleeks were the most talked about upcoming product in the gaming market, and I didn't even know it. It was buyers, they was taking Sleeks off the table. They thought they were samples. It was like I had a crowd of people around my little table, and all the other tables maybe had like one or two people, but it was just amazing at how so much commotion, and it was a big crowd around my table. So that's when I knew that, I had something special. And yeah, I had different color sleeks, and I had the actual system out there on the table. I'm playing the games on. I had a little football, and we were throwing football, catching it with the sleeks. Because the sleeks is it's not just going to be a gaming glove. It's the brand is the sleeks. We're going to have golf sleeks. We're going to have money counting sleeks, fashion sleeks. Sleeks is a brand. It's for the individual, and when the time gets right, we want to have it to where customers and sleeksters can customize their own particular style of sleeks.
So that phrase you just repeated, sleeksters, is that yours?
Sleeksters, yes.
You came up
Yeah,
with?
yeah, yeah. Actually, my lady came up with it. Her name's Amy. She came up with it, but she said, you're getting ready to have a ton of sleeksters, wearing your product, and so it's just like the Sleeks Nation.
The Sleeks
Sleeksters, yeah,
Nation. It's Sleeksters full of Sleeks Nation. Well,
yeah.
that's great. Well, I mean, what a story. So all this came from a $750 little booth.
Yeah, yeah, $750. It was the launch pad, and it was amazing. So I didn't have a manufacturer then. I met my manufacturer that I'm partnered with now. I met them there, but I had a lot of buyers wanting to purchase, buying for the stores, but I didn't have a manufacturer. So I got a contact with my manufacturer, and about a year later, I had my first 1,000 sleeks. So you know, it
So
was it was it was exciting.
did you take orders at that show or
Oh
not?
no, I just gathered a lot of business cards, and had tons of business cards. So I didn't take any orders. But a year later, after I got my first shipment from China to the US, and that's also something I had to learn about customs and air freight and things like that, and remote access with FedEx and things like that. Like I absolutely knew nothing about that. So again, I had to Google and YouTube. I had to basically find my way, and I'm pretty seasoned now, so I pretty much know what goes down as far as the customs and things like that. But it was exciting. It's just
So
very
the
exciting.
reason you went to the show was to find manufacturers. That was your primary reason.
Actually, that was actually my first trade show. I didn't know why I was going there. I just wanted to just show my sleeks off. Um, but then I figured, okay, this would be a good opportunity to meet people, get some exposure, and yeah, it was a lot of big name companies enjoying the sleeks.
Well, that there's types of people. I'm in that group. If I'm gonna do something, I plan everything out. I know, first of all, I know why I'm doing it, and I know
Right.
how I'm gonna do it, and I know how it's gonna play out. Like, when you go to these trade shows, I never forget. First time ever, I went to a trade show in Vegas.
Okay.
I had no idea what to expect, so I step into this hall. It's
Mm,
massive. There's like,
wow.
you can walk all day and never reach the end if you don't know which direction you're going. And of course,
Right.
God forbid, you decided to meet like 10 different companies. They're all over the place. I mean, there's no way you would say, oh, what's the big deal? You go from one booth to the other. Well, good luck walking from one booth to the other. So next time, once I figured that out, next time, well, not only next time, every time I went to Vegas, I had like a floor. I put all the booths in the order that I wanted to
Right.
visit and which booths. So I had a whole plan. And and there you are. You go to a trade show, you write the check to get a booth, and as yet, you have no real purpose. You just want to
Right.
show off your product.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a great way.
Yeah. And the thing about it was I didn't have a mentor or anybody around me to guide me, to direct me. I didn't have really a sense of direction, but as time went on, I always had to double back and redo it over, and then I would do it better every time. Because when I was in New York, I didn't have a website. I didn't have I didn't have a lot of things, but I always did it better the second time.
Yeah. So, okay, so now you got your first shipment in. So when you received, I should say, when you placed your first order with the manufacturer, did you have any sales? Did you have any forward orders? Or you just wanted to bring some merchandise in?
Um, I'm sorry. You said when I didn't understand the question when I
So
came to the
when
toy.
you placed, yeah, when you placed your first order with the manufacturer to bring in the 1,000 pieces, right? That's the first batch you bought.
Yes, first 1,000 edition. Yes.
Yeah. So that first 1,000, did you already have orders on the books that people waiting to buy it, or did you just wanted to bring some merchandise in first?
Yeah. I didn't have any people wanted to buy them at first, but I just wanted. I was planning on just selling them, just going to different local underground gaming tournaments and just selling them that way. But
I
my
see.
my first initial order was I kind of didn't have a sense of direction, but eventually I began selling them.
Okay. So you are here you are, you have your first 1,000 pieces arrived, and you're thinking, okay, I'll just sell this all over. And and is that what you ended up doing, or did you do something else?
Yeah, I sold. Well, this is also one of the biggest mistakes I made. Was maybe 300 units. I kind of just gave away because I didn't know. And come to find out, you're not supposed to give away inventory because that's like giving away money. According
Sure.
to Marcus Lemonis, the prophet, you never give away inventory because that's giving away money. So the first 300 units, I'm just giving out sleeks. I'm excited until I realize that's not good. A business never gonna grow. You're giving away inventory. So I gave away 300 of the 1,000. Then I got on Amazon. I figured, okay, I can try to sell these on Amazon. So I got my Amazon listing together and started putting them on Amazon the end of 2019, right before COVID, and put them on Amazon, and they sold out, and then COVID uh, hit.
Oh, so 2019, you put the product on Amazon. How many different colors did you have at the time?
I had the simple. The first 1,000 edition was called Midnight Ravens or Crow. We're from Baltimore. Baltimore Ravens. I call them Crows. It's all black sleeks with purple finger sides. Um, yeah, I would say. Hold on, let me see. Wish I had a pair around here. But yeah, it was an all black. It was just one color palette.
So one listing. So you put one listing. How many pieces did you put?
Three SKUs: small, regular, and large.
Small, regular. So you have three variations. Did you use FBA or did you fulfill yourself?
Fulfilled by Amazon.
Fulfilled by Amazon. So,
Yes.
somebody advised you to do that, or you just figured that out all by yourself?
I advised. That's when I first ran into my CMO. Um, he lived in Pennsylvania. I was looking for a team because me researching Google, they say startup companies, you need a team, you need a team. So I went on Indeed.com and I made a description. I was just looking for somebody to just help me. I mean, far as, bounce ideas off of and everything. And I went through about 50 candidates, and everybody was like, "How much am I getting paid?" I'm like, nothing. It's kind of like you're being, starting founding members. If you see the potential of the Sleeks, when they fly, you'll be taken care of. And had a lot of people just, no, thank you. I need to get paid. But this one gentleman by the name of Bill, he seen the vision, and we was talking, and he knew what I was trying to do. He knew I didn't have anybody except for artificial intelligence. So he began giving me tips, ideas. I would ride out to his house in Pennsylvania from Baltimore, about an hour trip, and we would drink coffee and we would set up, talk strategies, keywords, and he helped me set up my first Amazon listing, and gave me a bunch of keywords. And because he also has products on Amazon, he's also has patents, and um he's already in the mix as far as manufacturing, and he's been around for a while, so he's been helping me out, guiding me as far as setting up my first Amazon listing.
So he recommended that you should use Amazon for fulfillment. So
Yes.
FBA, yeah, okay. So
Yes.
that's the right way to get started, because you don't have to worry about customer service or anything. Okay,
Right.
uh, so how many pieces did you send to Amazon your first FBA shipment? Was it the whole 700 left, or was it less than that?
It was maybe around like 500 and something. About
500.
500, yeah, because I kept some back just to kind of, just in case, any family members or local gamers. Actually, the guy that I played in the tournament, he bought a pair of Sleeks. The guy that my fingers slipped off and I was getting ready to win the $5,000, he bought a pair of Sleeks, and yep. So it was exciting.
Okay, so you sent the 500 and you say it sold out right before COVID hit.
Yeah, it was crazy because it was this units was moving. It would be 2 units another day, then four another day, then six, and it was great. It sold out, and that's when I knew that I had a good product. And what what me and my CMO would talk about was that we take the reviews, and then we would tweak the next tweak the Sleeks as they go along. So and we taking into account the pain points and reviews of the customers from our competing brands, and we incorporated that into our product, which is to date is the Sleeks is the most optimized gaming apparel to date.
So 500, when did that go on sale first? When was that? When it became possible to buy? When was it live?
Say
2019, you
like,
said?
yeah, I'll say like August of that year, I believe
Oh,
so.
okay. So from August to when did you run out of inventory? Like January 2020?
Probably like mid December. Yeah,
So
about
even
early mid December.
so even before the year was out, the inventory was sold out.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Okay, so that's 4 months. So in 4 months, you sold out. So what happened next? So tell me about your reordering and replenishment, because when you run out of inventory on your listing, that's like death, right? Everything goes
Yes.
down. So tell
Yeah.
us about that, how you went about doing your replenishment and then getting back up there.
Well, when COVID hit, um, basically I figured, okay, I don't have any more inventory. I'm watching the news, and gaming is just booming right now because everyone's indoors, and
Sure.
it hurt my heart because a lot of gamers suffer from sweaty, clammy, oily hands, and they have no way of efficiently playing. So I couldn't get the sleeves to them. So I basically, from there, well, 2020 is when I decided, me and my CMO, we made tweaks to the sleeks, and we filed for another patent, which we were just granted October 18th of this month, which is Sleeks 2.0. That's officially granted. That's going to be our next. It's more optimized design than this. And so I filed that patent, and then the end of 2020, that's when I started getting the samples. I contact my manufacturer again, and I think 2021. Okay, the beginning of 2021, I guess the factories kind of started opening up just slowly, but not too much. And they had enough people in the factories to where they could get me some samples of the Fiery Phoenix. So that was the next thing. Got the samples made, and then the next order would be Sleeks 5,000. So, no, Sleeks 3,000. We got 3,000 of the Sleeks made for the second edition, and
Mhm.
that was my brother was like the royal Disney. He was the financier of this second edition, and yep, and that's we got the Sleeks manufactured and got them shipped in.
So you are funding this whole thing yourself, or you mentioned your brother? Your brother is
Yeah,
funding. So
yes, my brother.
it's basically you're doing whatever the business produces in profit, and family, friends. That's how you are funding it.
Yes, yes, everything. Sweat equity.
Sweat equity is what you are putting in the whole process. So
Right.
tell me, so you mentioned earlier that you are also starting a fundraising, because you mentioned preparing your deck. So are you looking to raise money for the business? Is that your next step?
Not actually. I'm just looking to potentially, I guess, partner with a big box retailer. Right now I'm in the process of targeting the major players in the North American controller market. Like say Mad Cats, GameStops, Bethesda Software, Bethesda Studios is also here in Rockville, Maryland. So basically, the strategy that I would like to do now is basically bring the sleep to the masses, whether it be working with a partner with the company, and we develop some type of specialized sleeks, and they purchase some wholesale from me, and they're gonna definitely make 50 to 60% profit margin back.
So let me ask you this. So let's say I'm GameStop, okay? I come to you, and you know the saying, be careful what you wish for, you may get it, right?
Right.
So let's say
Okay.
I'm GameStop, and I can introduce GameStop to you if you want. So I'm GameStop. I come to you and say, okay, we're gonna do a test with this product, and we'll
Okay.
start with 20 stores,
Right.
and I'm gonna give you an order for 250,000 units,
Okay.
and we'll give you the PO, and our payment terms are 90 days.
Okay.
So can you produce 250,000 units and wait for 90 days before you see a penny from that order?
Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely have to well see what the capability of the manufacturers are. But yeah, definitely take the purchase order, finance it and get everything and uh, manufactured and things like that. So we're
Because
definitely, but
it's you know the saying, you get to make a first impression only once. So
right,
if you do go out to, I'm not saying don't. All I'm saying is you need to consider it. And so you need to be prepared for it. When you ask questions like this to
mm,
people, factories, especially entrepreneurs, the first answer you get is, well, that's a good problem to have. Well, you know what? Yes, it is. It's better than bleeding. but
Yes.
it's it's still a problem to solve, right? So
Yes.
if you don't solve it, it's going to give you a bad name. And a great product and a great idea will get shut down right from the get-go
Yes.
because it's planned out right. So um, that's definitely the biggest pain. However, you are doing definitely, you're going about it the right way. In other words, the formula for launching a brand is not to come up with a great product idea and go to big box retailers first. It's to go to Amazon first, prove the concept, but most
Yes.
important, build some history. Because when you go sit in front of that GameStop buyer, you put the product on the table and you just tell them, pull up the item on Amazon for a second. And then just take a look, use Helium 10 or whatever. Just look at how many sales we are already getting. Now, how would you like to carry this item? And you
Mm.
don't need to do much. They'll give you a
Right.
PO because you are showing them data. So
Yes.
if you go about it the other way around, where you go to big box retailer without really doing anything, then they're going blind. So
Yeah.
you definitely have the right approach. So the only question is that, are you ready for this? Is your manufacturing ready? And is your
Right.
financing? Because they're going to pay you based on terms.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I'm learning about purchase order financing companies, and I'm learning the whole gamut. So I'm putting myself through the University of Google, which is YouTube and Google Business School. So I have free tuition. I don't have to pay nobody. I can just sit in front of my computer and learn anything that I need to learn about the topic, subject, and things like that. So and that was one of the mistakes that I made earlier was when I first formed my company, I wanted to present. I was I was I was sending letters to a lot of the top companies, and kind of find out it's unsolicited. It's not good to do that. So I would get letters from Nike execs, Wilson, Hillerich and Bradsby Company, a company to make Louisville Sluggers, Mattel. I've got letters from the top executives signed saying we love this idea, but there's no traction behind your idea. Now, when I mailed it to Sony early on, they wanted to purchase it for I think a million, but I had family members and stuff. They were pretty pissed off at me because I didn't take the million. But why would I take a million? And I know the Sleeks are it's a brand. I mean, I just didn't want to get
Yeah,
$1 million, and then, but that was also exciting too, just to have, and all of that was done with the fax. Like
yeah,
2 days after I got my patent, I had my patent attorney fax Sony Corporation a letter saying we would love to work with you. And a week later, I got a reply from Sony of Japan saying, we would like to take time to review and consider the idea, and they made the offer, and I couldn't take it. So, but I have family members that hate me to this day because I
well,
didn't
listen,
take it.
you know uh, in business like this, you wonder what is the right decision to make, right?
Yes,
And there is no such thing as like, this is how you make it. No, it's whatever decision you make at the time, under the circumstances at the
yes,
time, is the right decision. So you just figure out, if it was not so right, then you make it right. We're going forward. So
yeah.
it's easy to do, as they say, armchair coaching. So
Yes,
tell us a little bit. I mean, this is great story. I mean, uh, you went through the whole experience of starting with no knowledge, no
no
experience,
knowledge, nothing.
just an idea that came out of losing a tournament
Yes,
and
underground tournament. Yes,
getting hurt and saying, no, this is not okay. There has to be a way to deal with it.
yes,
And you came up with the product idea and showed up at the trade show, no expectations, no nothing,
nothing.
and
Right.
then all the way up to And also you have great indicators along the way, like Sony giving you an offer and selling out on Amazon right away. So obviously, and the other success that I would say, I don't know if you gave it some thought, but you actually had somebody believed in it. So it's usually, because if you want to sell a product, you're basically asking somebody, write me a check, this will make your life better. It will deliver
Okay.
value. Well, if you cannot convince someone to work with you on that idea in the first place, that's the first sale. It's not the product.
Right.
And you made a sale. That's a good enough indication that there is something there. So it's a great
Yeah.
story, Marcial. Tell us a little bit
Thank you.
about yourself. You mentioned Baltimore, so I'm sure you're from that. So tell us, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Turner Station. It's like a waterfront community here in Baltimore County. To me, I think it's the most. Um, I think our neighborhood has a lot of history. A lot of famous people have come from this one neighborhood. Let's see if I could list a few. You got Kevin Clash, Elmo. You have
Oh,
Grant Hill. He's an NFL. No, Calvin Hill, NFL player. Um, Kwasi Mfume. You have the first black astronaut. You have Rudy Gay, NBA basketball player. You have Henrietta Lacks. She did the first, I guess, stem cell or something with her blood. You had Billie Holiday, Red Fox. Um, and there's a lot of the few celebrities that come from this one neighborhood. So it's a lot of tradition and things like that. And I made it a promise to myself that I'm gonna be the next to come out of Turner Station, um, yeah, community. So it's Baltimore. Mostly I played golf in high school. I love golf. Started playing on the video game 2000. I was obsessed playing golf. I would stay up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning playing golf. Then I figured I love playing it online on Tiger Woods 2000. I'll make the transition to real life. So I'm into I love to work out. I watch Smithsonian Channel. I love Smithsonian Channel. Um, Planet Earth. Love David Attenborough. I love watching all his shows, and I'm just I'm mostly by myself. I work, and I just
so
got.
tell me, so was it the influence of your neighborhood that got you to say, I'm gonna be the next guy that comes out of Turner Station? Was it the neighborhood or your parents? Where did that come from? What was the origin of it?
Um, I would say, yeah, I would say the neighbor has a lot to do with it's a lot of inspiration and things like that comes from Turner Station. And just my own will to want to be free in life. Just be able to just help gamers out and this is I believe this is a brand because Sleek's for everybody. So um, yeah,
Yeah.
just say.
So you mentioned you have your brother helped you. So you have one sibling or you have other siblings?
I have two older brothers. Um, yeah, my middle brother. Um, yeah, he helped me out. He has great credit, so he's like I call myself the Walt Disney, and he's more like the Roy Disney. He's the financier of the whole operation. He goes in and he gets the money, ships
So do
my
they?
account.
So he's the bank. So he do they think the same way as you do? Like I'm gonna be the next guy that comes out of this neighborhood, or that's to you only?
Oh no, actually, my family they don't think I think I'm the only one probably in this whole generational family within the last 60 years that think like me. Um, Brothers, mothers, aunts, uncles. No, they rather just work. I
Why do
guess
you think you are thinking different? Why are you different than the others?
I think I'm different because I'm a dreamer. I like to dream, and I I see things. I envision things. Um, yeah, I would just say I'm just an overall dreamer.
Have you
I
always
like
been
to.
a dreamer from being a small kid? You remember always being a dreamer?
Yes, I've always had ideas. Um, and it's crazy. I have ideas right now that could just like change the world. But I've always had ideas. I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit. Selling candy, drawing in middle school, Beavis and Butthead pictures, selling them for maybe $2, $3, and just
And
yep.
where do you think that came from?
I don't know. I think it's
Your
just
parents encourage you, your mom and dad
um
say anything about, do something?
um yeah, my dad, he first set me up with the Rich Dad Poor Dad book right after I got my patent. The actual set, just like they had the CDs and everything. He set me up with that to kind of give me a sense of direction on as far as business. Um, but I would say majority of it is just me, just wanting to bring something from the idea to the physical equivalent.
So you had that kind of an approach ever since you've known yourself. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, yeah.
And because I've had especially one guest. She is a former Amazonian. She used to work in Amazon, and her entire family, they were all entrepreneurs, and that's natural. You become an
Okay.
entrepreneur if you come from a
Yes.
family of entrepreneurs. And she always fought against it. In other
Mm,
words, she refused to believe what was already in her DNA. And she wanted to be a fashion designer. And
mm,
so, fast forward years later, totally by coincidence, she is put in a position to exercise an entrepreneurial approach to things.
right.
And there it was like her entire potential was unleashed. And now she
Ah,
knows, and she's an entrepreneur. That's what she is. That's what she does. She does not fight it, no, nothing. So there's someone who had, I mean, you both have the same kind of essence in your DNA, where you have this entrepreneurial approach to life. And this is not, by the way, having an entrepreneurial approach has nothing to do with business. It's the way to see the world, the way you want to do things. So
yes.
she fought against it, tried to
Mhm.
suppress it. You embraced
Right.
it and ran with it, and you let that streak of yours rule your life, right? That's what I'm seeing here, and I think that's a
Yes.
big deal, because you could have easily done what she did.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
being a
So
dreamer, people don't like dreamers so much, right?
right. You got dream killers. You got non-believers.
So
And me, I'm always
how do you fight those people?
well. I just don't listen to them. For the most part, non-believers and people who just always want to like put you down and things like that. I kind of just it's like motivation because I've had people tell me, you know what, stop the sleep, stop the gloves. It's been years, you haven't got anything done. By the time you hit the market, there are going to be they're going to be hand motions and your gloves are going to be obsolete. So just stop what you're doing. I've had people tell me that I've looked up to tell me that like just stop what you're doing. You're wasting time. But as we all know, typical entrepreneurs, they never stop. They keep going. They just drive until you get done.
That's great, Marcial. It's a great story, and it's very rare to hear it directly from someone who's done it the way you've done it. So it's great. So tell us, how can people reach out and connect with you? Give us your contact information.
Okay, contact information. You can contact me at info@gripitsleek.com. We have a YouTube channel that I'm working on, and I'm learning everything about editing. It's Grip It Sleek. Just type that into the YouTube. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Mr. Sleeks. Yeah, and our website is www.gripitsleek.com. And we're thinking about, after the holidays, coming completely off Amazon and going straight to Shopify. So that's one strategy we want to try to do, because I kind of want to have everybody under this one umbrella of keeping it in-house. But my CMO says it's not a good idea. He said, I think you should keep them on Amazon because you want to be where everyone's at. So we're communicating right now. I haven't decided if I want to keep the Sleeks on Amazon, but they might come directly to Shopify, which is gripitsleek.com, so we can be more attuned with our customers.
Great. By the way, your CMO is right. Listen to him.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to him. If you said it, and I'm gonna listen to him.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, Marcial. This was great. I loved your story. I'm sure the listeners will
Thank
do,
you.
and they'll you'll hear from them, I'm sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you for having me, and anytime.
Yeah. And this brings us to the end of another episode. I'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Be sure and subscribe, rate, and review our show. And be sure and share an episode with a friend. And thank you so much for being with us today. We'll see you next week here on Amazon Legends.